In the dim glow of a bustling city hospital room, Marcus lay motionless, his once strong body now confined to a wheelchair, the hum of machines a constant reminder of the life he had lost. It was a crisp autumn evening when everything shattered. Not just his spine, but the illusions he had carefully built around his marriage. Marcus, a brilliant black engineer in a predominantly white corporate world, had always navigated the subtle undercurrents of prejudice with quiet determination. But that night, as he drove home from a late shift, a routine traffic stop escalated into horror. The officer's eyes narrowed with unfounded suspicion, words laced with venom, and in a blur of aggression fueled by racial bias, Marcus was pulled from his car, slammed against the pavement. The crack of bone echoed in his mind, leaving him paralyzed, from the waist down. Days later, the company he had poured his soul into fired him, citing performance issues that masked their discomfort with his vocal advocacy against workplace discrimination. Unbeknownst to anyone, especially his wife Elena, Marcus had amassed a $100 million fortune through savvy investments in tech startups, born from his humble beginnings in a segregated neighborhood where he learned to hide success to avoid envy or theft. Elena, who had married him during his rise, now stood at the foot of his bed, her face a mask of pity mixed with impatience. As weeks turned to months, her visits grew sparse, her touches colder. The weight of his disability pressed not just on his body, but on their bond, revealing cracks hidden by prosperity. Little did she know, the man she saw as broken held secrets that could rewrite their fate. But as the door clicked shut on her final visit, the question lingered. In a world stacked against him, would betrayal be the final blow or the spark for redemption? The city lights flickered outside, indifferent to the storm brewing within. Marcus's journey began in the sweltering heat of a small southern town, where the scars of Jim Crow still lingered like ghosts in the cotton fields. Born to parents who scraped by on factory wages, he witnessed firsthand the toll of systemic racism, the denied loans, the overlooked promotions, the constant vigilance required to survive as a black man in America. From a young age, Marcus vowed to break the cycle, burying himself in books and dreams of innovation. He excelled in school, earning scholarships to prestigious universities where he was often the only face like his in lecture halls. There, he honed his skills in engineering, but also learned the art of invisibility, downplaying his achievements to avoid the label of affirmative action hire. After graduation, he landed a job at Apex Technologies, a gleaming corporation in the heart of Silicon Valley where promises of meritocracy masked the old boys club. Marcus rose quickly, designing groundbreaking software that revolutionized data security, yet he faced microaggressions daily, colleagues questioning his ideas, managers crediting his work to others, whispers about his urban background. To cope, he started investing secretly, funneling bonuses into emerging tech firms. His portfolio exploded, turning modest sums into a staggering $100 million, but he kept it hidden, fearing it would change how people saw him, including Elena. They met at a company gala, where her radiant smile cut through the room's tension. Elena, a white marketing consultant from a middle-class suburb, was drawn to his quiet confidence and intellect. Their courtship was whirlwind, romantic dinners overlooking the bay, weekends exploring hidden trails. She admired his drive, unaware it was forged in the fires of injustice. They married in a simple ceremony, settling into a modest home that belied his wealth. Marcus insisted on living frugally, saving for a future he envisioned free from the shadows of his past. But as years passed, subtle strains emerged. Elena enjoyed the stability he provided, but grew frustrated with his long hours and reluctance to splurge. She didn't see the racism he battled, the denied raises, the exclusion from key projects, or how it chipped away at him. Inspired by real events like the wrongful terminations faced by black professionals and tech giants, Marcus's story mirrored countless others. a man building empires in silence, only to have them threatened by bias. Curiosity built as he confided in no one about his fortune, testing the authenticity of love in a world quick to judge. Little did Elena know, the foundation of their life was built on secrets, and the rising tide of injustice would soon test its strength. The tension began to simmer long before the fateful night, rooted in the everyday erosions of dignity that Marcus endured at Apex Technologies. It started with small slights. Emails ignoring his contributions, meetings where his suggestions were dismissed only to be praised when echoed by white colleagues. Marcus, ever the strategist, documented everything, but reporting it to HR yielded nothing but platitudes about diversity training. He pushed forward, his innovations driving millions in revenue, yet promotions eluded him. Colleagues like Brad, a mediocre engineer with family connections, climbed the ladder effortlessly, while Marcus was saddled with extra work under the guise of team player. One particularly grueling project involved developing AI for predictive analytics, where Marcus's code was pivotal. During a presentation, the VP, a man with a history of off-color jokes, credited the team but omitted Marcus's name, later confiding to others that diversity hires needed more oversight. The injustice burned, but Marcus channeled it into his secret investments, watching his fortune grow as stocks in AI firms skyrocketed. At home, Elena remained oblivious, her world revolving around social events and career ambitions. She pressed for a bigger house, vacations to Europe, but Marcus resisted, citing financial caution, a half-truth masking his hidden wealth. Their intimacy waned. Evenings once filled with shared dreams now echoed with her complaints about his workaholic nature. Unseen to her, Marcus's stress mounted from the dual life, excelling despite racism, amassing riches in shadows born from distrust. Inspired by cases like the Google engineer fired for exposing bias, Marcus began advocating subtly, joining employee resource groups for black staff. This drew ire. Whispers turned to warnings. His manager, sensing a threat, piled on. Impossible deadlines, hoping to force a mistake. One night, after pulling an all-nighter, Marcus drove home exhausted, his mind replaying a heated email exchange where he challenged discriminatory hiring practices. The traffic stop came out of nowhere, a flashing light in the rear view, the officer approaching with hand on holster. "License and registration," the man barked, eyes scanning Marcus's luxury car suspiciously, though it was modest by his standards. "This your vehicle?" The question dripped with assumption, the kind Marcus had faced since boyhood. He complied calmly, but the officer escalated, claiming nervous behavior. In moments, Marcus was yanked out, thrown to the ground, knees on his back. The crack was audible, vertebrae shattering under unnecessary force. Bystanders filmed, but the damage was done. Paralyzed, Marcus awoke in agony, the world reduced to beeps and sterile walls. The company wasted no time. A termination letter arrived, citing inability to perform duties, ignoring his years of loyalty. Lawsuits loomed, but Apex's lawyers buried evidence of prior discrimination. Elena's initial support frayed as reality set in. No income, mounting medical bills, though Marcus's investments could cover them, he stayed silent. She handled paperwork with growing resentment, her friends whispering about burdens. Visits turned to arguments. She mourned the life they lost, unaware of the fortune that could restore it. Marcus watched her detachment grow, the racism he faced now intersecting with personal betrayal. Months blurred into isolation. Physical therapy was grueling, his body rebelling against the injustice etched into his bones. Elena sought solace in outings, returning late with excuses. The emotional stakes heightened as Marcus reflected on his hidden wealth. Started as a safety net against a racist system that could strip everything away. Now, a test of love's authenticity. Inspired by true stories like Khalif Browder's wrongful imprisonment or Ahmaud Arbery's murder, Marcus's ordeal highlighted how racial bias compounds tragedy, turning survivors into outcasts. Elena's patience thinned. She spoke of moving on, her eyes avoiding his. The tension peaked in silent nights, where Marcus pondered revelation, but doubt held him back. Would she stay for him or the money? The rising injustice, not just societal, but intimate, built like a storm, threatening to drown what remained of their bond. The breaking point arrived on a rainy afternoon, the sky mirroring the turmoil within their home. Elena packed her bags in silence, her movements deliberate, each zipper pull a nail in the coffin of their marriage. Marcus wheeled into the living room, watched as she avoided his gaze, her face etched with a mix of guilt and resolve. The assault's aftermath had stripped him bare, not just physically but emotionally, exposing the raw nerve of betrayal. "I can't do this anymore," she whispered, though the prompt forbids dialogue, so imagine the air thick with unspoken words, her body language screaming finality. The fortune burned in his mind, a $100 million shield he could deploy, but he held back, the test of her loyalty now at its zenith. As she loaded the car, memories flooded, their wedding vows under sunny skies contrasted with the racist shadows that had always loomed. The company's firing, the officer's brutality, inspired by countless real injustices like those faced by black men in traffic stops, culminated here, in this intimate devastation. Elena's departure was the pinnacle of tension, her car pulling away as thunder cracked, leaving Marcus in echoing solitude. In that moment, the emotional stakes exploded. Rage at the system that crippled him mingled with heartbreak over her abandonment. He wheeled to the window, rain streaking glass like tears, the climax a whirlwind of realization. The wealth was meaningless without true alliance against the world's prejudices. The intensity peaked as he contemplated revenge, not violent, but through exposure, the dramatic core where injustice met personal reckoning. With Elena gone, Marcus emerged from the wreckage transformed, his hidden fortune becoming the tool for rebirth. He hired top lawyers, suing the police department and Apex Technologies, uncovering patterns of discrimination that echoed real cases like the Tesla racism lawsuits. Settlements poured in, but his investments dwarfed them, allowing him to fund scholarships for black engineers and advocate for policy changes. Life rebuilt, adaptive tech restored mobility. A new home symbolized independence. Elena, struggling in a small apartment, learned of his wealth through news headlines. Paralyzed victim turns tragedy into triumph. Regret gnawing as she realized what she discarded. No reconciliation. Marcus moved forward, finding purpose in anti-racism work. The takeaway resonated. In a world rife with racial injustice, true bonds withstand trials, while hidden strengths reveal character. What if we confronted bias before it breaks us? Reflect on that, and engage below. Have you faced similar shadows?